I'm woke, I guess. I'm just too woke. It's just a supervillain. That's all he is. That's all he is. That would take, honestly, a generational sacrifice, probably. One of the first memories and concepts of the world I spawned in with was welcome to MopedJet. Why is it called MopedJet? Because I want a moped, I want a jet, and I'm going to do this until I get it, and that is it. Today we're going to talk about whatever the uh, Magic Monty's, the Magic Monty's Cup tells us. I'm feeling good today. I'm feeling good, but I don't got anything I could talk about other than the trending topics. And I want to start off the trending topics, and I feel like I'm just like Tosh.0 or The Daily Show, and I'm not that, dude. This is Moped Jet. This show is low key better than that because it has more soul than that. It's not run by corporate overlords, so it's fueled by Celsius, mango juice, and a little bit of vodka. So let's see what we're gonna talk about today in our handy dandy Monty's cup. Remember that? Where's my Blue Clues crew at, man? Not Joe, not the Asian one, only Steve. Not the black one either. Damn, this was gonna be tough. I might start. This is gonna be a hot one. I'm probably gonna get canceled for this one. So let's start it off, bro. I mean, it's true. I don't think voting changes much of anything. I don't think it changes much of anything. I don't know what father's are. Um, Maybe my father. He's really into politics, but I'm not gonna put him on blast or anything. That would not be right. That would not be a good son move. But he's into his own politics. But I personally, I don't think voting changes much, and I know a lot of people will be like, "Oh, whatever, you're not gonna, you gotta vote right. You gotta vote in the right ways." I'm like, we've been saying that for years. And we've been voting what we thought is the right way so many times, and it turns out not to be the right way. And we've been championing and getting behind people that say they're gonna do one thing and they never do it, and it's just like, what's the point? I think honestly, what would make more change, and we'd never do this because it would call for us to sacrifice. But if we can't do that, not in America. But what would do a lot more is just pulling money together and starting to just get the things we want done. But that will never happen because the government's not going to use the money that they take from us, the tax money, to use it towards the things that need to be, need to get done. It goes to bordering other countries. Honestly, like we're just giving them, we're like the rain camera for a lot of countries. We're like their security guards, and a lot of our money is going to that. So that's why it doesn't matter. They'll never have enough money to do what we want them to do because all their money goes to stupid stuff. So we need to just, and the money is the power, honestly, not the politics, not the vote. The money is the power. And we have more money than the government if we low key tax ourselves. But I'm just speaking in something that would just never happen. That's some utopia stuff that we'll never do because a lot of people, we all say we want that, we want something like that, but we also don't want one moment of hardship, let alone the many years. That would take, honestly, a generational sacrifice, probably. Like a whole generation of people would have to say, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to stop voting. We're going to stop uh, participating in the system, in the game, aggressively and competitively, and we're all going to collaborate to make a fund or to pool money together towards certain problems like homelessness, food shortage, job opportunities. I don't know if that would make more jobs, but you know what I'm saying. That's my idea. So that's why I don't think voting does much personally because I've voted so many times, and yeah, nothing's really changed, bro. Sorry. Next one. This is a comedy podcast, by the way. Hip hop is dying because it's not hip hop anymore. It's internet pop. Dude, bro, I was filming one that day. That's true though. Hip hop is dying because hip hop doesn't exist anymore, bro. I mean, the Clipse album recently is a very good example of what a true hip hop album sounds like. And I know people are, here's the old head making rules on hip hop, but that's the whole problem with hip hop. It's old enough now to begin to need to install some structure. It needs some rules. We need some subgenres. We need some classifications. Every other genre has it. Every other genre has existed, you know, a little bit longer. Like actually hip hop is not that old compared to like I mean, it's not that young compared to rock. I mean, yeah, rock has about 30 years on it. Okay. But still, that's like rock is hip hop is like, you know, right in terms of music genre years, it's kind of right there. You know, jazz has been around for 100 years. So, but yeah, like to me, if you are wailing over auto tune, you're not rapping at all, really. At that point, you're trying to sing. That's singing, dude. Any rapper that sounds like this, how is that rapping? They're not talking at all. Those are little melodies. If you're Rod Wave, you're not rapping. You're singing. If you honestly, a lot of songs are just singing with auto tune and 808s over it, and the pop industry doesn't want them to invade the pop world, but it's technically pop because it's not hip hop. It doesn't have any boom bap. It doesn't have the rap elements. It doesn't talk about. It's not talking in it. You know what I'm saying? It's really just internet pop because they won't embrace it like the pop world won't embrace it, but the internet obviously is. A lot of songs are meme songs and joke songs. Ever heard of Babytron? Terrible. Is he? I guess he's kind of rapping though. I guess this is an old head take. Let me abort. I'm gonna abort. Huh. Oh, this is a double feature. Oh, okay. We'll talk about this one, and I'll talk about this one, and then we'll get into current events. Okay, so Attack on Titan. I'm gonna get in my nerd bag. Attack on Titan is the best written anime of all time. There is no anime that's going to touch the level of Attack on Titan for a while. And that's what this is all about. Okay? If you don't know what Attack on Titan is, it's the only anime you need to know about. Honestly, because like I've watched anime since I was a wee lad. I've watched anime. My first anime was me trying to find Pokemon because one of the first memories and concepts of the world I spawned in with was Pokemon, which is kind of crazy. But I knew what Pokemon was. I knew what Pikachu was, and I knew what Ash was, and I knew what my family was. And that's what I spawned in with. That's the info I spawned in with. My family and the concept of Pokemon. So, I remember being like 5 on the quest to find the Pokemon show. I'm like, it has to be on TV. Everything's on TV. There's no way. There's nothing that's entertainment is not on TV. Being a naive 5-year-old. So I'm flipping through the channels, but I stop at what I thought was Pokemon. Not Pokemon. It was Digimon. Okay? And I knew it was not Pokemon. I knew it wasn't. I even thought like that's not Ash. That dinosaur is not Pikachu for sure. But it's almost there. I'm a kid. I'm gonna convince myself that this is Pokemon. So I watched Digimon for a week. Little did I know, during a commercial break of Digimon, I get a little bit more consciousness at this age, and I decide, yeah, you can flip channels to something else during the commercial. You don't have to sit and watch the commercial and wait for the show. So that's what I did. Began to flip, but just one channel up was Pokemon, and I never watched Digimon again. So Digimon and Pokemon were my first introduction to anime, and that was like in 99, 98 ish, 2000 ish, somewhere around there. Fast forward, so since around then I've been watching anime. Fast forward to 2025. Out of all the anime that I've watched, this is hands down, Attack on Titan is hands down the best anime. It's not maybe the most entertaining anime. That's a different story. That's a different categorization. It might not be your favorite anime. That's a different categorization. That's a different story. All that stuff is subjective. I'm talking objectively the best written anime of all time. So far. There is nothing. I don't talk about Neon Evangelion. I don't give a shit because they talk about the subcontext. I've never seen it, but they talk about what the themes and no, that's themes and shit are all subjective and all interpretive. I'm talking what is actually in the anime. I'm passionate about this. Attack on Titan is probably the best piece of fiction written. Probably. Because I've never seen anything like Attack on Titan that answered everything so fully and answered all the lore almost flawlessly. I'm sure if I sat down I could run into some contradictions and and some plot holes. Everything has plot holes. But it's one of the most flawless. Like, obviously there's the lore of giant monsters. You got to accept that. But after you accept the world that it built, it stays within its rules really well. It doesn't bog you down with crazy anime tropes and niches. It has genuine twists. It has genuine foreshadowing. Not just something like in dialogue, like something hidden. Something like, I don't want to spoil anything for people who haven't seen it, but there is an Easter egg in many scenes leading up to the reveal that will make you go back and watch the episodes and realize that Easter egg exists. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And it's Eren Yeager. And that's all I'm going to say. And you know what I'm talking about. I've never seen any media that goes that deep. And even the parallels between Reiner and Eren Yeager, how that's written so well. The way it plays with destiny and freedom and choice and slavery and what drives you and what's your true will. It plays with a really good theme. It's not just about, oh, I'm going to get stronger. And the main character is not even really the strongest guy, and he never even really gets stronger. And he's humble enough to even say that. Like, bro, it's just so well written. If you haven't seen Attack on Titan, bro, just watch it. Just watch it. I kind of blabbered on Attack on Titan for so long that I'm gonna actually put this back into the cup because this is a long story. It's a story time kind of thing, and don't wanna get into that because I want to get into current events. We only got about 10 minutes because we're at the 15-minute mark, and I'm sticking to my 30-minute thing. I'm not going past 30 minutes, and I'm not going past 30 minutes. Maybe I'll go to an hour if I start getting some sponsorships. Celsius, I'm looking at you. All right, so something happened with Starlink. Starlink apparently had an outage, and if you don't know what Starlink is, it's Elon Musk's thing, and Elon Musk is, if you don't know who he is, he's a small investor that's made a lot of money. And when I say small, I mean in stature, not in like height. And not I say in stature, not in like money. Ukraine says Starlink's global outage hit its military communications. Wow. Yeah, there was a global outage of Starlink systems. And I guess Ukraine was for some reason using it. Starlink systems used by Ukrainian military units were down for 2.5. Hey, Ukraine, you're in a war with a country that I'm sure, if I think, is undefeated. Has Russia ever lost any war it's been a part of? I don't think you should be relying on Elon Musk's technology. Elon Musk makes the Cybertruck, which sucks. It looks like a PlayStation 2 car that is not finished rendering. You understand? Do not invest your country's military systems with this man. This young man is shoddy. Starlink systems used by Ukrainian military units were down for 2.5 hours overnight. A senior commander said, that's crazy. Part of a global issue that disrupted the satellite internet. Ukraine's forces are heavily reliant on thousands of SpaceX's Starlink terminals for battlefield communications and some drone operations, as they have proved resistant to espionage and signal jamming throughout the 3.5 years of fighting Russia's invasion. Oh, they've proved to be. I'm sure you could have asked them, the U.S. I guess that is kind of the U.S., but it's not the U.S. government. But you could have asked maybe the U.S. like a hint, nod, wink, wink, and got the same technology. Probably could have leaned on the UK a little bit for that kind of technology. I'm just saying. SpaceX has a history of rockets blowing up at launch, and now a history of their Starlink systems just shutting down. So why would you rely on your battlefield communications? It doesn't matter if it can't be espionage or signal jammed. If it just shuts down on its own, who cares at that point? Are you going to defuse a... No, I'm not going to go there. Starlink experienced one of its biggest international outages on Thursday with an internal software failure knocked tens of thousands of users offline. Starlink is down across the entire front. Excuse me. Starlink, which has more than 6 million users across roughly 140 countries and territories, later acknowledged the global outage on its X account and said, "We are actively implementing a solution." X sucks. Ever since he bought it, it's garbage. It's just full of porn, and that's pretty much it. Robdy updated his post later to say that by about 1:05 a.m. on Friday, the issue had been resolved. He said the incident had highlighted the risk of reliance on the systems and called for communication and connectivity methods to be diversified. Yeah, you should probably have some of your own systems. I don't think you should have all of your military systems privatized, because that also sets such a weird precedent for the future. Are we going to have all these tech companies like, will Apple go into the freaking military? Will they start making missiles? Missiles? You've heard of the Windows Surface. Now, the Windows Mine. It comes with Spotify. You've heard of the Samsung Android. How about the Samsung Railgun? From the makers of The Incredibles. from the makers of The Incredibles and Elio. Pixar presents the Tank. The Pixar Tank comes with a Wally sticker and can kill an entire village in under 4 hours. It just sets a weird precedent. Combat missions were performed without video feed. Battlefield reconnaissance was done with strike drones. A Ukrainian drone commander speaking anonymously to discuss sensitive matters told Reuters his unit had to postpone several combat operations as a result of the outage. Alexander Dmitriev, the founder of Archie, a Ukrainian system that centralizes feeds from thousands of drone crews across the front line, told Reuters the outage showed, it's a huge risk. If connection to the internet is lost, the ability to conduct combat operations is practically gone. That's great to tell the public. Now, what a great commander. He said, calling for a move towards local communication systems that are not reliant on the internet. Yeah. How did you... I'm not in the military. I just know fail safes. Our Bluetooth, my car's Bluetooth turns off and disconnects from my phone for no reason at all. I would never trust everything, all my passwords I have on a secret document. I write down everything. You know? You got to have a backup that's in the real world. You can't just trust cyberspace. Remember when we called the internet cyberspace? As of April 2025, according to Ukrainian government social media post, Kiev has received more than 50,000 Starlink terminals. Wow. Although Starlink does not operate in Russia, Ukrainian officials have said that Moscow's troops are also widely using those systems on the front lines in Ukraine. Elon, so you're just making money off this war? Bro! Dude, I have a joke that for some reason will not hit. Maybe because it's too truthful. I swear, Elon Musk is just a supervillain. That's all he is. That's all he is. He puts chips in people's brains so they can control computers, right? It doesn't solve their disabilities. It's so they can control technology. Ergo, connect to technology. Ergo, I don't know if I'm using that right anymore. Can't technology connect to your brain now? Meaning, what if he has a switch he can flip? Once he gets all of our brains chipped up. That's some supervillain shit. He has auto-driving cars that eventually, if it goes well enough, everyone will rely on for transportation. I can see people, this is maybe a slippery slope, but I can see people, relying on that as their primary drive around places. So now he controls transportation. We have his chip in our brain. He controls where we go. You following? Hey, you even choose a freaking Cybertruck that I'm sure is going to have self-driving eventually. And now, this motherfucker is the first person to send people out of space commercially, I think. Or is that Elon? Or is that Jeff Bezos? I don't know. I think so. And he's funding both sides. This is the first time anyone, I think, has funded both sides of a war that I know of, and so publicly. He just said Starlink is giving Moscow's troops and Ukrainian troops terminals to And if I say that on stage, no one's going to react. Probably how you're not reacting to this, because no one sees how crazy that is except me. Like, this, he should not be allowed to do all this stuff. Oh, he bought X. He's trying to control digital communication and collect our digital data in some way, in some form. Like, I'm woke, I guess. I'm just too woke. The outage was due to failure of key internal software services that operate the core network. Interesting. Let's put that in my brain. Let's put that in my brain. Let's find out more about this Starlink outage after rollout of T-Mobile satellite service. Don't tell me T-Mobile is teaming up with Starlink. Starlink is owned and operated by SpaceX, also run by Musk. Service will be restored shortly. President of Starlink Engineering, Michael Nicholas, said in an X, mostly recovered, blah, blah, blah. What's the point? What's the thing with T-Mobile? T-Mobile said the T satellite service was built to keep phones connected in places no carrier towns can reach. Musk going fast following the announcement. Yeah, T-Mobile is freaking partnering with Starlink, and that means he can help them collect data and probably have a weird secret code where he collects certain data for himself. How we daily communicate. Fuck. And I don't have T-Mobile, but I got Mint Mobile, which runs on T-Mobile servers, which probably means it will run with this Starlink crap. I don't want to give Elon anything. Starlink didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. They were too busy making military equipment. Starlink internet speeds and reliability decreased with popularity. A recent study found it wasn't immediately clear if the T satellite service was affected by or involved in the outage. Okay, well, it just went out, and that's fine, dude. Nothing I can control about that. We're gonna end on this. Gigantic great white makes timely Shark Week appearance. I didn't even know it was Shark Week. I never know when. I love how Shark Week started out as an Animal Planet or a Discovery Channel type of thing, and it just became like a weird pseudo holiday after that. I don't know if that's just my friends or the media I've seen around me, but a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's Shark Week." I'm like, "Why are you telling me that? We're just in an office." If I was about to run in and hang 10 on some waves, that's when you remind me of Shark Week. Contender, the largest male, what a name. The largest male great white shark ever tagged by Oak Arch in the Atlantic was recently spotted off the coast. Yo, whoever tagged that has balls. I would not get near that thing. Measuring 13.8 feet and weighing approximately 1,600 pounds, the shark emerged near Nantucket on July 18th, days before Shark Week begins, July 20th. So we are in Shark Week. We are currently in Shark Week. The powerful animal was initially tagged on 17th of January of the coast of Florida and Georgia. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else. Give me more information. The shark's tag pinged around 100 miles south of Boston. What was this, a video down here? Great white shark versus great white shark. Whoa.
Now at Hardee's,
No,
chicken tenderizers.
Hardee's, you don't sponsor this.
Choose your.
You don't sponsor this at all. The shark's tag pinged around 100 miles south of Boston. Why do things want to come to America so bad? I feel like this is not the first time that they've been like, "Oh, we found a gigantic orca. We found a gigantic on the shore of Florida." Like, go somewhere else. Go to that side of the earth that's all water. If I lived in the ocean, that's where I'd be, bro. I would not ever see a shore. The powerful animal was tagged on January 17th, around 45 miles off the coast of Florida and Georgia, in order to help researchers and conservationists. Contender then headed up to the Outer Banks in North Carolina, which researchers say is typically full of great whites and John B. It is believed that the stop may be due to rich foods resources in the region. Contender is the largest male white shark ever caught. Spot tagged, released, and now studied in the Northwest Atlantic. White shark population of the tag, which pings when the shark's dorsal fin breaches the surface, will last for 5 years. Researchers estimate. Okay. Good for the big shark. Good for the big shark. I thought that was going to be interesting. Okay, this will be a little more interesting. I got a few more minutes. A shark attack survivor tells us what to do if you're in the midst of a great white. I know it goes against all nature instincts of preservation. Do not panic, but that's the most. Just be a ragdoll. You have to understand these sharks don't really know what you are. You're almost the same size, and they don't want to fight. He said, be aware of where the shark is at all times by staring the apex predator down. They know when you're watching. They don't want to attack you when you're watching. Lastly, resist the urge to punch the creature unless you absolutely have to. Pushing the sharks can guide them away from you, but divers advise people not to grab their faces, because under their snouts are highly sensitive pores called the ampullae of Lorenzini. Why is it called that? Why does it sound like a dish? The ampullae of Lorenzini. Tiny receptors that. Oh, you ordered the ampullae of Lorenzini? Ew. Tiny receptors that detect electrical signals. Touching the area, that area can overstimulate them, causing a shark to reflexively open its mouth. However, sharks respect size and power, and people should not act passively during an encounter. Beachgoers have gotten away from sharks by taking swings at their noses and eyes. B. Gelder tried to do the same, but was unsuccessful. Oh, so that why you came up with the passive technique? Because you missed the swing? You should have hit the guy. You should have hit the shark. Should the shark become aggressive, people should try to do everything in their power and keep their hands out of the animal's jaws. Ideally, they should use something hard to push the shark away. Like what? You're in the middle of the ocean. You can't spawn a stick. In a situation where you don't have that, going for the face and the gills and trying to keep your hands out of its mouth is always the best thing. So when you Jedi mind trick it down, doesn't work, run away. He says, don't try to hit it, but if that doesn't work, hit it, is what he just said, honestly. Don't hit the shark. And if that doesn't work and he still comes at you, hit the shark. Why not just hit the shark straight up? Experts at the Florida Museum's International Shark Attack File say people should aim for the eyes, but note that the water resistant weakens a punch. Yeah. Of course, the chance of any of this happening is incredibly remote. A human is more likely to bite you than I mean, duh. I've been bitten by many humans. They're called babies. From 2015 found that surfers, and they're called girlfriends. From 2015 found that surfers and scuba divers have a 1 in 17 million and 1 in 1 in 36 million chance of being bitten, respectively. More often than not, a bite is the case of mistaken identity and potentially the result of low vision and gray whites. That's not an excuse. Don't try to make me feel sad for the shark. Like, oh, he bit you because he can't see that well no more. And his brain is going. Bro, he took my arm. I'm going to take his face. Last year, the number of unprovoked bites were significantly lower than average. There were 28 in the U.S. compared to 36 reported in 2023. That feels like that's still too many. Especially unprovoked. For these things to only attack when they can't see, it seems like they can't see a lot. Still, to be safe, there are things people can do before they enter the water to minimize the chance of a bite, including not entering the water where there's a lot of fish, not going to the water alone, or at dawn or dusk, where vision may be low. The Gilder is now part of a Discovery Channel special, How to Survive a Shark Attack, previously told Australia that he was wearing a wetsuit and black fins, likely looking like an injured seal to the shark that attacked him. Yeah. I want to show people by doing. And then he just jumps in the water with the seal suit and then gets bit. Okay. Well, I think that's enough, guys. That's MopedJet. I think this was a fun one. If you don't think that was fun, you're wrong. You are wrong. Get bit by a shark. And prove that you like this stuff with the like button. It helps this podcast get going. Leave a comment. That helps it get going. Subscribe. That definitely helps me get going. It makes me more motivated to do this kind of stuff. I'm a comedian. Check out my clips. I'm a musician. Check out my music. And I'm a human being, so I hope you have a good day, just like I'm going to try to have one myself. Have a good one.